He really wants you to dance, Mike.
I like that when it kicks in. The horns kick in. All right. Welcome to another episode of Unheard Journeys. I'm Mike DePalma, alongside my co-host, Mike Bloomfield.
What's up?
We got, I do love the music at the beginning. Every time it gets me. It's got another great guest. Very interesting story to tell. So first we'll kick it off. Matt, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, yeah. Matt Hamilton, VP of Product and Engineering at Hats.ai. My background is mostly consumer fintech, so big claim to fame. I was one of the early employees at Venmo. And after that was at companies like Stash and Republic. And I joined Hats about 3 months ago.
Great. Yeah, I want to get into the Venmo piece of it, but we like to take a step back, even
Sure.
the beginning, right? So we were talking before the show. I know you grew up in North Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
but tell us a little bit about that.
Sure.
Tell us about where your path took you for your first job.
Yeah. I got really lucky. Growing up in North Jersey, I was interested in science and engineering. So I wanted to go to engineering school. I ended up applying to a bunch of places. I was lucky enough to get into Columbia Engineering. I majored in material science engineering, which I thought was cool, but I didn't realize about halfway through that your career options are basically you work for a factory somewhere or you are stuck in research for basically your whole career. And I wanted to work in industry. So about halfway through, I started interning at some tech firms in New York. And that's how I got exposure to the New York tech scene. And I learned about Venmo through the New York Tech Meetup. They demoed there back in 2010. And when I got my first smartphone in 2011, one of the first apps I got was Venmo. And so I was trying to work on a startup at the time that we had built a pretty crappy website for. And I was getting lunch with my co-founder. We were making no money. And we come out and there's a guy walking down the street with a Venmo shirt on. And so my co-founder says, "Hey, do you work for Venmo?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm the CEO." Come on. It's great. And we were like, "Oh, we're founders too. This is cool." And that was Ikram, who is co-founder of Venmo. And after that, we got dinner. And he learned that we needed money. I needed a job. So I started working there after that in 2011.
So you literally bumped into him on the street.
Yeah. No prior relation to him at all. They're UPenn guys.
Like, I love how you just assumed he worked at Venmo because he was wearing the shirt.
Yeah.
No swag. It was Hi.
Gotta wear the swag.
And now you said early on, but you told me earlier, within the number 10, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they had just moved from Philly because it was two UPenn roommates. And they had gotten an office in New York. And yeah, they were still, coming up in the scene, but I'd seen their demo at New York Tech Meetup, which again was fairly early on. They had just raised seed funding. So yeah, it was pretty early.
And so what were you hired to do?
Software engineering.
Gotcha.
So I was a software engineer, ended up helping build out the iOS app, most notably for the first year and a half, 2 years. Yeah.
Our producer, Julia, told me yesterday she has some issues with her Venmo app, so maybe you can help her.
People still ask me for help, and I'm like, I don't know anyone there anymore. I'm sorry.
That's the downside of IT, right?
Yeah.
Wait, tech?
Yeah.
Hold on, my phone isn't working. Can you fix this for me? No.
Yeah. That actually, recently with that Verizon outage.
Oh, you couldn't fix that for him?
People are going, wait, my service isn't working. Can you take a look at it? I'm looking at their cellular settings.
You're like, it's on SOS. I don't know. Good luck to you.
Yeah, I was like, something weird is happening right now because I have no idea why this is happening.
But how crazy is that? Like, this week we had that major Verizon outage, and it just shows like this year, within the past 3-4 months, some major outages, right? Mm-hmm. AWS, you had Azure, and now you have, Verizon. It sucks when technology doesn't work.
Oh, it's scary.
Oh, yeah.
It really was. And T-Mobile and AT&T even had some outages that day.
Well, they on Down Detector they did, but they came out and attacked for basically indirectly marketed that said, just so you know, our network's working. You're having issues because you're trying to call Verizon customers.
That was a powerful.
Oh, interesting.
But it was enough people on T-Mobile trying to call people, and when calls weren't connecting, they were reporting it.
Yeah.
But it sucked.
I do feel like there might be, there's a little bit more of this, like, these this downtime for some of these products. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's such a complicated weave of like all these products and services are using all these different providers. And if one of them goes down, it may make it seem like the whole product is not usable.
Everything's intertwined.
Exactly. Yeah. So I almost feel like it seems like it's more commonplace because of that web.
Right. And then with Cloudflare and then how important they are. And then they have, like it's something that happens, right? It's like no different than, hey, you lose power. Con Edison has a power outage and, you have 5,000 people without power for a couple of hours.
Yep. It sounds, frustrate people, but it's amazing how up it is, how successful it is and how good, the fact that we had an outage for 4 hours.
Please don't jinx it.
Oh, come on. I already jinxed it. That's all right. All right. So how long were you at Venmo?
For almost 6 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Through 2 acquisitions and a huge amount of growth. I mean, it was really the growth that was awesome to see and be a part of. Yeah.
So within the top first 10 employees, when you left, do you know how many employees there were?
So it's a little difficult because we got acquired by Braintree, which got acquired by PayPal. And so we had a lot of support from those companies. Yeah. So at the time it was probably pushing like 100, but it's hard to say. Yeah.
But, I had been through, that way, started as an early employee. It's crazy to see when you go from that mom and pop feel, and then all of a sudden money starts pumping in, and then they start putting process in place, and you're like, oh, you remember the expense reports you're going to have to do? Well, now you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, remember like the founder used to just like make a decision and then everyone went with it?
Yeah.
It's not happening anymore.
No, we're going to have 18 meetings to discuss it, and then it's going to be voted on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So were you drawn to that startup? Is that when you were at Columbia? Were you looking because there's either the route of I'm going to go to this big corporation and have the steadiness, or you were drawn to the idea of I want to be part of something from the ground up.
Yes. When they came out with the Apple App Store, I started convening my friends in the library, brainstorming app ideas. We had no ability to build these apps, but we wanted to think about apps that we could build. I mean, 2 of my friends were majoring in comp sci. So maybe theoretically, but practically, we wouldn't have been able to build anything. So I was excited about that. Yeah. And started reading TechCrunch and just following startups and things like that. So yeah, was pretty fascinated with it. And we ended up applying to Y Combinator as well and interviewing there a couple times. So my journey would have been very different if we got in. I probably would have gone to San Francisco. But we didn't get in, and I ran into Ikram on the street. So hey,
I mean that's wild. Yeah. So what was next? So you're at Venmo.
So then after that, I was running product at Stash, and Stash is like Acorn, it's a micro investing app. So that was interesting because I had never been SEC regulated before because Venmo was money transmission. So FTC and things like that in terms of audits and actually state by state audits as well. So that was really interesting to think about how people invest and how people think about investing. Very different than peer-to-peer money transfer. Yeah.
Right. Pay me for my lunch.
Exactly. Pay me back.
Exactly.
Yeah. And in between that, I was the product manager for the money team at Venmo, which was probably really interesting. And I feel like you guys might relate as well, is that like you have this old system, which is like the money transfer system in the US. And then you have to like map that to like tech things, to like an interface that people can log into and they want to get updates about and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like, we're always in that point where there's old tech or old things that people want now, like dashboards that tell them stuff about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And trying to take the square and stick it into the round hole.
Yeah.
My favorite part is when I first found Venmo, and most people can realize is, right, when you hand cash, I pay you back. No one could go and look to see I handed you cash. But by default, there was the whole transaction history.
Yep.
And then people had like no idea. And you would like literally go through and I'll be like, oh, this guy's paying him for weed.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know you're paying it. Yeah.
It was such a funny thing, but Ikram was really hot on it. And it's one of those things that's still very polarizing. But interestingly enough, Cash App actually ended up, I think last year or the year before, now they require a note with every payment. Previously, their whole differentiation when they first came out was like, oh, we don't have notes like Venmo. We don't require you to do that. Now they do, which is kind of a funny
But
full circle
at
thing.
least you were able to put it in private mode, like so you
Yeah.
have your notes, but it's in private.
Yeah.
And how many people just had it public?
Yep.
You look through. I love it because I'll go through the trail. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I see what he's up to there.
Yeah.
I love that.
You can see the gamblers that are paying their bookies and they say have a football.
They put the football with a box next to him. Like, I wonder what that's for.
That guy must have been on the Jets this weekend.
Well, you want to talk about downtime? The one time of year, see if you can predict the one time of year that Venmo would go down, like especially for the first at least 5 years of our existence. There was one moment in particular that Venmo would always go down because there was a huge spike in
Super
payments
Bowl.
at all the exact time.
I was going to say.
At the end of the Super Bowl. Everyone settling up at the exact same time nationally.
Yeah.
Oh, because they were all paying out their box.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it would go down every year because it was such a huge spike in activity compared
You have
to
to
anything
plan
else.
for the spikes.
Eventually, we got there.
Well, I was just listening to the commissioner of New Jersey, electrical commission, and talked about like you have to plan for all the spikes, right? So you have, and that's why battery storage. But so it's fine. It's no different, right? If you don't plan for that spike, then we'll just take down a whole Venmo.
Very much so. Yeah. Yeah. You have to think about that, for each product, is there a spike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last episode of Stranger Things, everybody's like, there's no way Netflix is going to make that,
They can make it, or did they go down?
No, it was good.
They went. They were fine. I thought.
But they must have prepped for it.
I know. No, they had an issue. Did that? Of course they did. But I thought they had an issue on the secret episode. Well, the documentary they released.
Yeah.
But it's
Funny.
amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The one thing, and I apologize if I missed. Did you graduate college?
Yes, I graduated.
Oh, 'cause
yes.
you did
I do
skip
have
over
a
that,
degree
right?
in
Yeah, yeah.
material science engineering. Yeah.
Oh, so you went fully through with the material.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't love it, but I also, my parents were like, we're paying for a Columbia education. You better get that degree. Regardless. Yeah.
Regardless, if you never want to work in a factory in your life,
Exactly.
you have that piece of paper.
Yeah. And I do.
And when we, as more people we talk about in their journeys, it always keeps coming back to, you don't know when you go to make that decision for college, you took a major, but you didn't really know what that major, like, why don't they help you to understand?
It's amazing.
Like, all right, let's have a sit down for 10 minutes. All right, you pick that material. Hey, by the way, here's what your path could be. You might have been like, before you started, been like, oh, no, that's not what I want. What other choices do you have for me?
Yeah. And I feel like it's hard to make that decision right now. I keep telling people who are around like high school, college age, I'm like, there's also so many jobs that there's no courses you can take, or not a lot. There's no major, so it's very hard, I think, to make that choice. Yeah.
Right. There's we'll get to what you're doing now with AI, but there's no, you can't go to college to understand AI. Like they're implementing prompt engineering and different courses, but there's no major geared just towards that.
Yeah. I mean, considering that we're scrambling just in the industry to keep up with the pace of everything, I'm sure in academic settings as well.
Yeah, you're writing the book on it. I mean, there's so, we know the capabilities of it, but it's like, how do you monetize it? Where is it going to be? So I do want to talk about where you're at now, Hats.ai, because it's a very unique company. And
Sure.
I think I want to tie it back into your journey, but tell us a little bit about Hats.ai in general and then why you chose it.
Yeah. So Hats is a platform that allows MSPs to manage AI, people using AI at work, basically. So they can use chat, workflows, they can connect a bunch of integrations and use that effectively across all the different models, Anthropic, Gemini, ChatGPT, all in one package and one bill essentially too. So they don't have to make a choice between the different models, which right now is like super competitive. And then they can also learn to create a workflow. Let's say the accounting department or the marketing department comes up with like an agent or a workflow that's super useful for like expense reporting or something like that, like we were talking about earlier. They can then share that with the rest of the company and they can use that. And it can be AI powered, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think there's such a gap there. There was that study last year. People point to, I think it was MIT did the study, that 95% of all AI projects produced 0 ROI in the last 12 months. Mm-hmm. And I think that shows the opportunity for an MSP. It's not that the AI failed. It's that it's probably somebody internally, I'll take on this project. They didn't know the outcomes they were even looking for. Mm-hmm. There was no person actually managing that project. And then they look at it and say, it didn't work. Whereas to me, this is a huge opportunity for MSPs. Like that's where MSPs need to insert themselves and say, hey, this is all these, tell me what business outcome you're looking for. And I'll be able to bring AI in here to get those results instead of the other way around, seeing this flashy AI and say, how could I fit that in? So what you're doing, and to me, you're kind of the only show in town, is kind of doing that. Am I understanding the value prop that you guys are providing properly?
Very much so. Yeah. I think, it's still a new topic for a lot of companies and a lot of MSPs selling it. And we're trying to make it really easy. You have to make it easy to use because people expect that right now of AI products, but really easy to manage and really easy to sell as a product as well. So that's what we're focused on.
It's, being as an MSP, and, that's the tough thing, right? We supply our clients right now AI readiness. We want to make sure it's protected. Of course, you had ransomware, you had business email compromise, and AI and shadow AI is becoming the number one cause of data leaks. Because they're literally feeding the data that's getting learned and don't realize what they're doing. So a tool like yours that now contains, it allows an MSP to go ahead and enable that properly is amazing.
Yep.
But like internally, we haven't done workflows and that for our clients because it's just a whole nother work. It's just more work that you have to staff for because your typical help desk engineers aren't the same people who would understand to be able to sit down with a business owner, understand their goals, and then create the workflow. So, an organization that's able to help with that, but now allow an MSP to provide that because we are the ones they're coming to, right?
Right.
Because it's like we were just talking about when the phone doesn't work, anything to do with tech, they come to you. No different than when they're like, hey, you guys do websites? No, well, isn't that tech? Yeah, it's tech, but it's marketing aspect, not a IT operational aspect.
I genuinely think that you look 5 years from now and MSPs look at where their revenue is going to come from. It's from this type of work. And I'm coming from a vendor side. To some extent, a lot of the actual products, the SaaS software out there is getting a little commoditized, right? And so as an MSP, it's hard to differentiate yourself if you're just saying, oh, my security stack does X, Y, and Z, and this one doesn't. But to be able to go in there and show your services and show your consulting services of saying, I'm going to take care of your security. I'm going to be your help desk and do all that. But what I do as an MSP is actually help your business become more profitable, more productive. And that's where AI comes in, that AI as a service almost. Well, I think that's going to be extremely profitable for MSPs.
That's going to help. That's definitely going to help in the sales process because right now, as an MSP, they don't realize the value until you help protect them from a data incident or something happens.
Yeah.
So most business owners look at IT as an expense on their line item.
Cost center.
Marketing, right? They understand marketing is an investment. If you spend $10,000 on marketing every month, you should be making way more than $10,000 in new sales. With the AI and what you're talking about, if we're now able to make them more profitable, able to help, decrease staff by making them more efficient and save them money, we are now going to move from that expense line item to an investment.
Yep,
exactly.
And we are seeing that with some customers where like the usage, I'm amazed at some of the workflows people create that are like multiple steps, huge prompts, using a good amount of computation, but it's because they're trying to automate something that is pretty advanced, and it's definitely saving them time.
Yeah, Mike, you brought up a good point, and I never really thought of it, is that the skill sets of the people that MSP is going to hire is different, right? You have techs that are probably great at the stuff they've been doing the last 20 years. So are you seeing now for MSPs, are they typically hiring somebody to kind of do that AI side, or are they training people internally?
I would say both. Not typically. And we, I was telling you earlier, like we actually just spun up like an AI enablement team that's going to help those end customers ramp up because there's so many questions. People want to know how to adopt it. There's a lot of people who have never used AI, especially for the things they're doing at work. They've dabbled, right? But they don't really know how to build something that's going to really save them time and money. So we're trying to help with that a lot because a lot of these MSPs are not hiring folks or they want to train up internally, but the pace is crazy right now in terms of things changing so quickly. So we're trying to offer as much training as possible and we keep updating it. We have these courses like AI Navigator that teaches you how to use Hats, which is also a little bit of how to use AI. But we have to keep updating it because not only is our interface
every second.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the new normal,
Changes every second. And it's raising the price of every computer and everything we're going to need because they're just buying up all the RAM and every chip they could get.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty wild right now. Yeah. And like something will be announced, and then 2 days later, someone's going to ask me about, hey, can we see this in Hats? When can we see this in Hats? And it's almost like they forgot about the fact that like this is brand new. We haven't even really looked at it or used it well. They just want to know if that feature is going to be available. And it's great to get the requests, but it's also amazing just the pace of that right now.
Constant.
Yeah. What's interesting, obviously AI is such a hot button topic and everybody's trying to figure out where they fit in. What I find very unique about what you guys are doing, is it is something that's brand new. It's saying, okay, where is the gap? You're not creating AI, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, where is the gap? What's preventing AI from taking this next step and getting that hockey stick growth, especially in the MSP channel? Jimmy figured that out.
Yeah.
Jimmy Hatzel, the founder, like that was what I really respect about it.
So that is where kind of my story ties in, because my background is in consumer. And that's the funny thing, is that we have a tool that consumers and, everyday people don't understand how to use. And one of the key limiting factors of, let's say, a product like this that is selling through MSPs is specifically that adoption, right? If they go sell it to 5 customers and those customers aren't using it, then that's not successful for anybody.
Yeah, right. You become one of those 95% that implemented an AI project and didn't turn out ROI.
Exactly. Yeah. So for me, what's fascinating is that user problem of how do we help people and empower people to use it themselves? And I mean, that's a moving target, right? We're doing some things with the platform that we're trying to help with that. But it's constantly changing and constantly evolving.
And it also sounds like you're allowing me as an MSP to now give something to my client to make them simplify the process that they wouldn't have been able to do on themselves.
Yeah.
And it would have taken a team to do it, or engineers or something. And now they're able to basically from start to finish figure it out, create an agent and deploy it.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're trying to manage all those different fronts. But for me, a huge part of that is people understanding how to use AI and people using a software product, successfully. So that's definitely top of mind for us, for sure.
So it sounds like, you came out of college, you like the idea of the startup, that kind of fast paced. This is probably that on steroids in terms, like you said. I mean, if something comes out and new, I mean, your days are never slow and boring. You don't have those days where you're staring at an Excel spreadsheet like the rest of us. So has that always kind of been your personality? Even as a kid, like you like that new challenge, that like...
I guess I just love new technology. So I think that's what it really is. It's just, I love new technology. I love being a part of it. And I love to build and help other people use it too, help use and apply that,
When you were 7 years old, what did you want to do?
I want to be an inventor.
Inventor?
Yeah. Because I was fascinated by new products, new technologies, all that kind of stuff. So it's really,
So you're almost where you're doing what you wanted to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So very,
you might
very
be
similar.
the first. Right? He might be the first person actually doing what he wanted to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm enjoying it. Enjoying it. Yeah. Especially the past 3 months it has. It's been super fast paced. So I've thrown myself into it. And loving every minute of it.
So you've only been there 3 months. I mean, now that you've been there, is it what you expected you'd be doing? Is it new? I mean, is it, you came on, this is what you were looking forward to and it's happening?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I didn't know a lot about the MSP space, so I didn't know about some of those dynamics, I think. But in terms of fast-paced, I did expect that. I mean, I've done now 3 or 4, seed to Series A companies. So to a certain extent, there's some line through on that, which is everything is messy, but we have to grow up and we're growing and our customers are asking a million things. What do we do? So that's a parallel.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating stuff. Yeah. I'm glad. Like Mike said, there is, your journey is okay. Well, here's what I wanted to be when I was 7. Here's I want to be an inventor. But when you were 7, you couldn't have possibly dreamed of what you're doing, the AI, and we all knew about AI since we were kids, but not like this.
Yeah.
But even though he wanted to be an inventor, and you're doing that now, he still didn't have a direct path.
No,
he still went to college in a major that he was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Right. And so even though you knew where you wanted to be, to get there, what you're doing now, It wasn't that straight path.
Exactly.
And that's what we're seeing. You know, the more
Yeah.
we speak with people, it's all over the place. It's like,
Yeah.
it's a zigzag, and how many people go to college, and I think it's becoming a reoccurring theme. And you go to college and you finish college, and you're like, yeah, I don't want to do what I went to college for.
Yeah.
That's why I just dropped out.
I don't think we've
it was
had
much easier.
Yeah. I don't think we've had a guest on yet that is doing something now that it directly applies to their major.
No.
You know what I mean? I was a poli-sci major.
Brian,
I didn't know what I wanted to do.
like a little bit, but you know,
Yeah.
but still not real. But he massaged what he learned into it. But yeah, it's.
And I actually hated the comp sci class that I had to take when I was in college.
Is that right?
Hated it. Yeah.
Yeah,
did
because
not
it was
like
always behind.
Yeah, and it was like, create a solitaire game. I was like, I want to make something that someone can use, not just like a solitaire game.
Yeah.
And it was very frustrating.
Well, that's higher education. That's they're always behind.
Yeah.
So like you go in and back then C++ was the programming language when I was in college, but that's not what they were teaching you.
Yeah.
They were teaching you still C+ and assembly. Like no, like why catch up?
And it's always interesting, like what gets you there, right? What gets you interested? I mean, for me personally, like that's how it is for me when I get super fascinated on something and I want to achieve it, that will drive me to learn it, right? So I was recently reminiscing about this. The first time I actually really started getting interested in coding was because I was interning at a company. It was a recruiting company. Because since with my material science background, I wasn't getting internships at like Google.
Yeah.
It was a recruiting company called Urgent Career, and they were trying to automate. They were trying to like templatize their Excel spreadsheets. So I got into VBA script, and that was actually what got me coding for the first time, was automating Excel spreadsheets with VBA script. And that's what fascinated me was their problem and trying to figure out the way to solve it, not the underlying technology piece of it. But that's just how I am as a person.
Awesome.
VBA scripts.
Yeah, right.
I don't miss those. And when they worked, they were amazing. And then when they didn't work, you're like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Can you even run them in Excel anymore? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's all blocked. Well, hackers made that hard. We can put macros and everything right in here and just ransom everything.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it's just a different day and age now that you can use AI to code, right?
Yeah.
So it's a whole nother ballgame.
It's insane. And I haven't programmed in years. And then there's certain APIs and stuff I want to do some integration.
Yeah.
I literally go into, ChatGPT and obviously there's better ones that you could do for coding. And it literally creates the product. And I'm like, all right, now I want to make an Azure web function for this. All right, here's what to do, step by step, go.
Yep. It's unlocked it, right, for you and for many people, which is amazing. I think there's certain folks in software engineering who are like, don't love that. But to me, I think it's amazing.
Well, it makes the biggest thing they say is security-wise, it doesn't always make secure code.
Yeah.
It might make code that gets you from A to B.
Oh, for sure.
But they're like, that code might not be very secure. And But I feel I see it changing because even it'll tell you, hey, I just generated this code, but here's what we recommend you do to make sure that it's on Azure, it's protecting. So they're trying, but there's still going to always be a need for engineers, and it's a tool.
Yeah, very much so. And it just means you can focus on harder problems with your own brain, which I think is great.
Yeah.
No one wants to work on how to write an if statement. People want to work on hard problems.
Right. No one wants to read the 1,000-page API document when you could just have the AI engine and figure out, all right, here, you're now connected. Now go do what you were trying to do.
And technology should make things easier. It should save you time, not cost more time all the time, I mean, obviously there are things that are hard problems to solve with technology, but there's a lot of things where you're like, it should just work. So
yeah. I mean, people are always scared about AI. It's going to replace all this, and it'll replace tasks, but the calculator didn't replace the need to know math. You know what I mean? There's still going to be somebody that's going to need to oversee it. And I think in every industry, we're trying to figure out what AI is going to mean and what it's going to mean for like the workforce and where people fit in. And I think there definitely be places, but that's what's unique about what you guys are doing, right? Yeah. It's creating something that didn't exist. This, what you guys are doing, and taking AI and bringing it and creating a real unique value proposition for the small business through the MSP. It's kind of the right, pathway, I think, to go to market. Yeah. Well, this was awesome. I really appreciate you coming up here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this was really interesting.
I appreciate it. Just make sure before you leave, Julia would like to get her Venmo account fixed.
Yeah.
See what I can do.
And put some money in my account while you're out here.
Yeah.
A little football next to it.
You still have access to that, right?